there any way to turn light on this beautiful church? Hello, people of Earth. Hello. That's all the light we have. Can we have more light? No? That's it. Okay. Yes. Thank you, God. How many of you have been to a show of mine before? 40 people. Okay, you can turn off the light. It's a bit embarrassing. Honestly, it's actually a good thing that most of you are new to my music. It means that a new audience is reaching my music and I can introduce my music and myself to you. First of all, I need a drink. Prost. I swear, this is the weirdest church I've ever been in. I mean, they sell alcohol here, don't they? It's kind of weird. I mean, no. I don't know. God made whiskey, I guess. Thank you. So, my name is Asaf, and I am a musician. Don't you whistle? It seems obvious now, because I'm with a guitar on a stage, and you guys paid way too much money to see me. But it wasn't always the case. I wasn't always a musician. I turned a musician about 8 years ago, I would say. And it was 2006 that I picked up a guitar. And the reason I remember is because at that time a girl broke my heart. She broke it into more pieces than my heart was made of, which is an anomaly of nature. But see, I met this girl when I was 19 years old. It was a very, very long time ago. And we fell in love instantaneously, you know, as kids at the age of 19 do. I went into this bar and I asked for a drink, and the bartender was this cute girl, and she turned around and our eyes met, and there was this, oh, you know, and everything stopped and our hearts started to beat, and you know, it was just amazing. It wasn't a logical love, you know? It wasn't even a biological love. It wasn't us. It wasn't our bodies. It wasn't something in us. It was a mythological love, you know? It was love of the gods and the titans and Cronus and Zeus and an endless battle, you know? Throwing lightning bolts and turning into bulls and kidnapping nymphs, you know? And thunders and volcanoes erupting in beautiful islands of love, you know? That was love when you were 19. It lasted for a while. We were this beautiful, you know, island of love. We were this we were a continent of love, you know, and everything was perfect for a while, you know. And then we found out a very, very important lesson in life, and that is that falling out of love is a very, very different experience than falling in love. It is no longer this spontaneous, you know, mythological event. It is now a slow, geological process. You know, it is tectonic plates, you know, shifting under your feet and trying to get away from each other. We were the ancient, you know, continent of Pangaea, you know, and we were starting to fall apart into the different parts that are today's continents, and we didn't know what was going on. So at first, our beautiful island, you know, it started to have a little stream of water. One morning, and we woke up and there was a stream of water cutting right through the fucking middle of us, you know, and she was left on this side, you know, and I was left on this side, and it was still a relatively small body of water, you know. We could cross it and we could splash our feet, and she would say, I love you, and I would say, I love you too, honey, and everything was great, you know. But the next morning, these tectonic plates, you know, they started shifting ever so slightly away from each other even more, and this little stream of water, it turned into a river. You know, it was a rushing river, and we could no longer cross it. We could still see each other and talk, and she would say things like, honey, why did you leave the toilet seat up? And I would say things like, where are the car keys? I'm going to sleep over at my mom's, you know. And things started to get distant, you know? And the next morning, this river, it turned into a lake. And the next morning, that lake turned into a sea. And that sea turned into an ocean. You know, and by the time we figured out what the hell was going on, she was a separate island all the way in the distance, and I could barely get a glimpse of her, you know? And I picked up the guitar for the first time, and I tried to call out to her. You know, I said, "Won't you come back?" She didn't hear me though. She was far away. It's understandable. It's not her fault, but my point is we are no longer together. You cannot undo time. That doesn't happen ever. But trying to reach her, trying to bridge that distance, trying to penetrate that metaphorical fog and mist that was between us became the reason why I wrote my first song. And it became my whole style of music and singing because I needed to let out, you know, these inner demons that were eating me from the inside, trying to climb their way outside, and I needed to shout louder and louder and scream, you know? And it's the only reason I still make music, and this is the first song I ever wrote to try to reach her, you know? Didn't work, but it started a whole different thing, you know? So, to life, I guess.